America's Hispanic Catholics are at odds with their more progressive fellow worshipers. The Pope's mission to unite his divided followers. Tomorrow on ABC's World News Tonight.
An ABC News business brief. Now from New York, Bill O'Reilly.
Good evening. Stock prices tumbled today as the dollar and bond markets fell. The Dow Industrials lost 52 points in the last minutes of trading when computerized selling kicked in. Mazda began making cars today at the first Japanese auto assembly plant in Detroit. In the largest settlement of its kind, Hudson Oil will pay nearly $7 million to thousands of former gas station attendants who were never paid overtime. The leading economic indicators rose in July, and Burberry's, the British raincoat maker, is going into the fine food business. On New York financial markets, interest on T-bills fell, gold gained $4, and the dollar was much lower. That is Business Brief. I'm Bill O'Reilly.
Thursday, Barbara Walters takes you on a very personal visit to China. The sights, sounds, magic, and mystery of its people on a very special 2020 Thursday.
This is Lisa Thomas-Laurie. Fascination fades for the country's most famous Marine, the death of Ali Mania, tonight at 11 on Action News.
Don't let a gambling problem tear your home and family apart. Call Gam-Anon, a self-help group for families and friends of compulsive gamblers. Gam-Anon can help you cope with unpaid bills, lies, and lack of communication in families where gambling has become a problem. Call 215-389-3325. The unique marriage of a prison inmate, 10 a.m. tomorrow.
An ABC News Brief brought to you by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated. Now from Washington, Carol Simpson.
Good evening. The U.S. said today that unless Iran accepts a UN ceasefire this week in its war with Iraq, the UN should start considering punitive action. Jewish leaders have hailed an historic meeting with Pope John Paul II as possibly starting a new era in Catholic-Jewish relations. Now this.
Summer parties call for cold beer. It's easy to work up a thirst when it's hot out. But it's never too hot to lose your cool. So remember to drink and serve responsibly. Know when to say when. A reminder from Anheuser-Busch.
Stock prices plunged on Wall Street today with the Dow Jones Industrials down nearly 52 points. Later on Nightline, the mock war game craze. When adults play at combat, are they glorifying violence or just having fun? That's News Brief. More news later on this ABC station.
Tonight on Nightline, watch a major news story as it happens. Gary Hart talks about the events that drove him out of the presidential race and whether he's coming back. That's on Nightline tonight.
An ABC News business brief. Now from New York, Bill O'Reilly.
Good evening. GAF has gotten a $2 billion buyout offer from a management group led by its chairman. And a group of investors headed by T. Boone Pickens has begun a $6 billion tender offer for Newmont Mining. Oil prices today plunged by as much as 70 cents. Treasury Secretary Baker has agreed to a Brazilian plan to sell bonds to pay off part of Brazil's huge foreign debt. And if you're in the market for a place in the suburbs, Greenwich, Connecticut and Mill Neck, Long Island have the most expensive homes, averaging $1.2 million. On New York financial markets, the Dow was off 16 points. Interest on T-bills fell, gold lost $5, and the dollar was lower. That is Business Brief. I'm Bill O'Reilly.
Is there any chance Gary Hart could run? He'll answer the question on Nightline, but supporters say the answer should be no. We'll hear from them at 11. Tonight on Nightline, watch a major news story as it happens. Gary Hart talks about the events that drove him out of the presidential race and whether he's coming back. That's on Nightline tonight.
Good Morning America stays up late this Friday night. Join us for Good Evening America, a special one-hour live nighttime edition Friday night at 10, 9 Central Time on ABC.
What's it like to be the first kid on the block to try the new Kodak Ultralife Battery, the longest-lasting 9-volt ever? Well, you won't have to remember it's made of lithium and tipped with gold, or remember it lasts twice as long. You just have to remember to change it, which in this case is in the year 2001. Kodak introduces Ultralife Batteries, twice the life when you go for gold.
Thursday, corporations are hooked on a new way to train their employees to think. They say it promotes creativity, while critics charge it's a form of mind control. Watch 2020 Thursday.
An ABC News Brief brought to you by the fun ships of Carnival Cruise Lines. Now from Washington, Britt Hume.
Good evening. Iraq says its warplanes attacked 2 ships in the Persian Gulf tonight, ending a 3-day lull in the Gulf tanker war. In a speech in Washington today, President Reagan laid out the top items on his agenda for his final 16 months in office. They are arms control, continued support for the Contra rebels, and the seating of his nominee, Robert Bork, on the U.S. Supreme Court. Now this. Gary Hart is in Washington for his first broadcast interview since he withdrew from the 1988 presidential race. On Nightline tonight, Hart will answer questions about the scandal that drove him out of the race and about whether he's now ready to come back. That's later tonight on Nightline with Ted Koppel. And that's News Brief.
A poster sale to keep Billy Penn free at 11. A new twist for Philadelphia food, the fine art of pretzel twisting. The competition on Action News at 11 o'clock tonight.
Spectacular fireworks and bridge lighting, 10 p.m. Thursday. Next on Barbara Walters.
Oliver North was my boss. He was a man I admired.
Fawn Hall gets personal in her first-time interview.
I remember giving my opening speech, and I was scared. I was shaking.
The Barbara Walters Special, next.
An ABC News Brief brought to you by Hefty Bags. Now from Washington, Dennis Trout.
Good evening. Senate confirmation hearings got underway today on the nomination of Judge Robert Bork to the Supreme Court.
In our America, there should be no seat on the Supreme Court for Robert Bork.
In Judge Robert Bork, the president has found a man of unquestionable ability and integrity.
Bork spent most of the afternoon explaining his concept of judicial restraint and strict interpretation of the Constitution. More on the bitter debate over Judge Bork later tonight on Nightline. Now this. In a ceremony at the White House today, Secretary of State Schultz and Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze signed an agreement establishing nuclear risk reduction centers in both Washington and Moscow. That's News Brief. More news later on this ABC station.
The Ben Franklin Bridge, a lighting preview at 11.
It has never happened before. A live face-to-face dialogue between our Congress and the Supreme Soviet. Capital to Capital with Peter Jennings at Nightline time tonight.
Opening night for the Philadelphia Orchestra at 11 tonight.
From Channel 6, this is an Action News Brief with Jim Gardner.
Good evening. Delaware Senator Joseph Biden comes home from Washington tonight to mull over the future, amid reports that aides are urging him to drop out of the race for the White House. We'll have the latest at 11. A federal court jury deliberates late into the night over the fate of suspended Judge Esther Sylvester. Jessica Hahn's confession to Playboy magazine reopens a battle among TV evangelists, and it's a joyous reunion for a New Jersey man and a family he hasn't seen in almost a decade. The latest on the players' strike and AccuWeather at 11 tonight.
LeVar Burton stars after the ABC News special.
Hello, I'm Jim Gardner for Action News. This just in, a few moments ago, a Philadelphia police officer has been killed outside the Spectrum in South Philadelphia. We'll have details in a moment. Joseph Biden comes home to Delaware amid reports that aides are advising him to drop out of the race for president. David Henry has the story. Jessica Hahn's Playboy expose hits the stand and opens another rift among TV preachers. And it's a reunion after 9 years and a half a world away for a Vietnamese immigrant in the Delaware Valley. Those stories and NFL strike update on AccuWeather next on Action News tonight.